Okay, I figure I'd go over state of the collection on the last day of 2023. First thing I'll start with is you have a fancy collection. You gotta have a fancy bit driver. So Journey Tool Co. Turas and Zircuti, Damascus cap with a Zircuti inlay. So use that to take apart all my knives, and then I go into what kind of started the custom knife collection off for me. So this was kind of my gateway drug after like Benchmades and Spydercos, Kershaws, things of that nature. I got into Grimsmos. I think I probably had like 17 Norsemen at one time. I'm down to 3. This one will sell, but these 2 are keepers. And what I like about these 3 are these are all sub 500. And for anyone who doesn't know, with Grimsmo, before they're all of the Grimsmos are serialized, but anything Norseman pre 500 and below were all done in John's garage on a Tormac with his brother Eric, and that's how they did all their knives. So these were all done in John's garage, and so anything really, I can really consider anything 500 and below kind of in that custom realm, because it was just him and his brother on a Tormac putting these things together. And then after 500 they got a Mori, and then they started kind of semi-mass producing them to where they are today, and they're doing them all on a kern and pumping them out like crazy. And then so I consider those more like a kind of machine assisted custom. They still make every single piece and still all theirs, just not as much kind of hand love as some of the older ones. This one's number 119, this is 258, and this is number 421. And so this one has a acid washed blade and black micarta inlays, and they're all guillotine drop shuts. This one's 258, and it's got thunderstorm Kevlar inlays, Damasteel Vinland pattern blade, and John did a custom crown engraving for the original owner, who's who I got it from. And this one was special to me because my oldest son's nickname is King Louis, and so that was kind of special to me, and so I ended up getting it, and so this will stay in the collection forever. But the depth on those inlays is insane. And then number 421, these are carbon fiber, but they're chevron patterned, so tons of grip. And this has Hakapella Damasteel. And then I found a Grimsmo clip, and then I reheat anodized it myself. So you almost get this like chameleon effect on these Damascus clip. And so this is what I got left. These 2 will stay, and this one will go. And then after that I got into Keanisons. And so this is my first book spot knife ever. And then I got lucky on this because I got a knife that Brian from Keanison wasn't very happy with. And so he really wanted that knife back, and he offered the previous 2 owners the same thing. Send it back, I'll make you a new one. And so I got it, and I took him up on it. So that's Stray 101, and they only make 100. So that's 101 out of 100. And then this is my Book Spot Alpha. And so this is low layer 3V core Nichols Damascus blade, We've got a Zerkatai bolster, black Damascus frame, Zerkatai clip, Zerkatai floating backspacer, black Damascus frame, and Zerkatai large pivot collar. So about as full dress as you're gonna get. This one is 3V Raindrop nickels. And what I really like about this is when I asked Brian for this one, I said, you know, I want an etched bolster against a anode frame, but I want you to match the patterns. And so if you look through, when the split from the bolster to the frame, the pattern continues exactly. And then even the raindrop pattern coming down on an angle matches the circles in the black Damascus. And then, you know, we did matching anode pivot collars, backspacer, and clip, but then the same thing, matching patterns all the way through. Then I have Alpha 42, which is black and white cargo quartz, show side scale, and this large piece of black and white cargo quartz backspacer, and then just a tie back, black and tie clip and pivot collar, and then Intrepid Damascus blade. And so those are my, and this one I'll end up selling. And then we have my Maverick Concepts 3.3 inch Sabre. This is special because this is basically a 1-of-1. Nick's going to start probably doing some thinner integrals, but that's what I like about this thing, is that it doesn't get much thinner than that for an integral with Damasteel kind of overlaid bottom side bolsters, because it's a bolster lock. And then it's got a mother of pearl pivot inlay and very, I got catching the right light there, kind of see it. Damascus, light etched Damascus, or light anode Damascus clip, but just super thin, lightweight. Nick did a crazy job with this knife. So if you don't know Nick Marshall of Maverick Concepts, he does some crazy, crazy stuff. And we'll get into these two. These are collabs, and this is a 1-of-1 collab, and this is 1 of 10, and it's number 3. So number 3 of 10 collab from the Barajas brothers, so Edison and Victor Barajas, both unnamed. But the blade on this thing, so you've got their logo. So there's Victor's logo, and there's Edison's Sharknivco logo. These were milled down and then anode inside. But you have Damascus pivot. Pick up in the light, but Damascus sculpted backspacer. Damascus clip, pivot collar, and this is just labeled as Nichols Sanmai, so I don't know what actual version it is, but it's crazy smooth. And then Another collab. This is, like I said, number 3 of number 10. I'm not a huge carbon fiber guy, but on this knife, the depth on that carbon fiber against the Zerk bolster, and then these crazy Damascus flush mounted inlays. It's just, I mean, it's completely flush. And I think this is a CPM 154 blade. And so you got the Vic's old logo right there. And the Sharknivco logo right here. Damascus clip, like I said, the pivot inlays, and Damascus spacer in the back. But the tolerances, barely see light through. So just some crazy tolerances. Then last year I got lucky with Victor Rojas from Viknives, and he did a special run of 10 of his Fortes, which he called Tie 10, Tie X, Tie 10, and I got lucky enough to score one of those, and so this is number 7 of 10. And it comes with a regular clip, but one of the guys in the group of guys that have one of these made clips, and so we got a little fancy edition of Black Damascus. But this is just a super thin, nice knife. If you don't know, Vic does all this stuff by hand. He doesn't do CNC. So this is all milled by hand. And then I'll go into this. There's my only production knife. My American / Reate Ultimatum with Zerkatai accents. Probably one of the most fidgetable knives. You've got the fuller groove to flip from on each side, thumb stud and front flipper. So this scratches the itch until I find an Ultimatum custom that I want. And then the last 2 knives that I have are 2 book spots that I've gotten semi-recently. So this is my Gumbiner Customs Orca number 4, I think. And so this is Intrepid XHP core blade, and then everything else is black tie and butterscotch Westie. And so I asked him to do something really cool with the backspacer, whether inlaid something in, or if he could sandwich. And he definitely said he couldn't inlay it the way it was, and Lucas wasn't very sure that he could even do, sandwiching it because of it protruding like that. But he said he would give it a try, and so I couldn't ask for a crazier contrast where you go butterscotch Westie, black tie, butterscotch, black tie, butterscotch, black tie, butterscotch. So just a crazy amount of work, and then all hidden hardware. Everything is from the inside. The only holes are right here, and that's flush mat, and then he made me a special tool to undo that and sent that with it. Butterscotch Westie, and black Damascus. Just a crazy build. And then a knife that I just got recently. Matt and I have been working on this for, we'll just call it a hot minute. And so this one is, again, no plain materials on this knife. This one is, this is a large Dreadnaught, thinned out some on the Westie scales with a recurve blade and MagnaCut cord Intrepid from Nichols Damascus, and then just black tie Damascus everywhere, pivot collars, frame which has the underlays, floating backspacer, clip, thumb studs, everything. And so kind of what I'm doing now is whenever I get a book spot, it's gonna be full dress. Like, I'm not gonna waste a book spot and put a ton of plain materials on that, you know, as long as the maker's up for it. I do have one book spot kind of in the works with some double blue line dark antique ivory Westinghouse. So got that in the works, and I'll just leave that at that. And one knife that I don't have, because it went back to the maker, is I have a Disciple from Jake McCoy Blade Works, and it has it had a slight delam in the blade, which isn't his fault. The kind of billet had a bunch of delams that he tried to work around. He sent it to me. I love the knife. He really wanted it back to work around the delam, and so he contacted Nichols. Nichols sent him a new billet, and so he has just finished it, and we went from more of a drop point to more of a Tonto blade. So we changed the blade style, but it's purple bakelite, and then it has Intrepid cord clip, backspacer, and blade. And so once I get that back, I'll be complete on all my knives that I currently own. And then so I kind of said I'm going to slow down a little bit for 2024. There's not a ton of knives that I want. Still gonna go to shows. Put this here, because one knife I know that I want, because I love the Forte and I love what Vic does. I love Vic as a human being. I'm a big, you know, churchgoer, religious guy. So is he. So that hits home with me. Had many conversations with Vic. So I'd like to get something a little fancier. Keep this one and still have something fancier for Forte. And then I guess if I was going to say a grail knife to hunt down, would be a Sharknivco Ryu. It's probably like my grail of grail knives. And I think that's probably about it.